Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning. Oh, yeah. Again, as with the beginning of every one of these calls, the reminder of how you get to choose what now means. You get to choose what everything means. You get to choose to give meaning to that which is fundamentally meaningless. Remember, everything just is. Nothing is good or bad. It's our thinking that makes it so. It's our thinking. It's the perception we have about things that determines the reality of our life, that determines the direction we go. And guess who has control over that in your life? It's you. It's always been you. It's you right now, and it's always going to be you. The beautiful creative being that you are. See, that is where the power is. The question is not a matter of whether or not it's there. The question is whether or not you're going to use the power, whether or not you're going to implement what we share in from this beautiful gem, the Master Key System, which is what we've been studying. Now, with this being said, my reminder for you about this information is that all of it is mere static, mere passive energy. In other words, there's not any movement. It just is. Think about the words here. They just are. See, what you've got to do if you want what's being shared with you here to have an impact in your life positively is you've got to shift it from being passive or static to dynamic, just the way that life is. Because why? Because life is dynamic. See, life has movement. That's things are alive. There's stillness and news for you. It's an integrative path. But don't let that be you. See, that's why we've created everything that we've created here at Elevitality. Why we're here sharing these things with you again and again and again. Well, because we want you to move it in your life. We want you to implement it so that you can deliver the change that you seek. So with that, what's the reminder? Use it. Use it as if your life depends on it. You know why? Because it freaking does. Now, with that here, make sure that you have your goal card. Wave this up here. Here we go, this goal card. Remember, too, as well, that we don't necessarily manifest what we write on a goal card. We don't even manifest what we put on a vision board. We don't manifest even affirmations. What we manifest is our connection to it, how we feel about it. When we are one with an idea, it starts to emerge and show up as an outcome. See, that's another beautiful truth that we want you to connect with as well, which is what good old Charles Haanel has been externalizing in his wonderful book here. All right, so shall we go into this? Let's go into where we left off. We're in the glossary of the book, which is towards the end. Oh my goodness. Again, I'm here pinching myself because of how we've gone through over 400 pages. That's pretty amazing. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, boom. All right. Now, where are we? Well, we're on page, I'll go to the previous page here so you could see it, page 405. And here, we're on electron. Now, remember, every one of these words here was in this book, and I love how he put all the definitions here to help you to understand even more in depth about why it's there. Now, electron, the smallest known component of matter, always associated with an unvarying unit charge of negative electricity. Okay, so what does he mean by this? Well, the tiniest spark of matter, which is the electron, think of it as a dancer of energy around every atom's heart. Okay, it dances around like a restless messenger. Now remember, the electron's the smallest component. But by the way, I need to say something too with regards to this, even though he does say that that's the smallest, it's really not. It's the smallest that we know because there's something even smaller than that. With that being said, it's like a restless messenger of creation, always carrying a single note of negative charges in this beautiful thing that we call the cosmic symphony, of which you are part of. Think of a symphony. It has all of these beautiful instruments, and then together they form this outcome that we call life. Now, that's what electron is. Next, we have faith. Now, I love this, okay? Active belief, belief which amounts to a basis for action upon the accepted premises. Now, this is really cool because this is what I've been saying for a long time, and what I guess you'd say I didn't quite get until I pieced it together. And that is that faith is always directly proportionate to belief. In other words, none of us ever has an issue with faith. You don't, I don't. The issue that we have is what we believe to be true. And isn't it interesting how he points out that faith is active belief? It's an expression of the belief. If you want to change the quality of the faith you have, you must first change what you believe to be true. And the example that I share with people to help people to understand this is, think of, for instance, this belief that we have in the endless march of time. Do you believe that there's going to be a day after this and a day after that and a day after that? And think in terms of the time right now that you're watching this. Right now, it happens to be 7:08 a.m. in my time zone. If it's the same time zone for you, or whatever time zone it is for you, in this particular case, if you're in this time zone, do you believe that it's going to be 7:09, 7:10, 7:11, 12, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Or how about this, the proceeding of even more months, to where November, December, January, February, March, April, May, do you believe that all of that is going to happen? And then, of course, all of us do. You believe it, I believe it. Think about that. I believe that. Say that. I believe that. Now, here's the kicker. There's no one alive that can prove that it's going to happen. You can't prove it. You cannot prove that that's going to happen. But guess what you have? You have the belief of it. Why? Because you've evaluated and you've come to see that there is a reliable pattern there that you can use. And because of that belief, what do? You have faith. There's active belief, which amounts to the basis for action upon that accepted premise. That's why you set your appointments. That's why you set your alarm. That's why you order food to be delivered at a different time when you're in a restaurant. Now, this is important for you because belief is something that leads to what's done unto you. What's done unto you, meaning how much you earn, what you do for work, your lifestyle. If you want to shift your faith, you got to shift your belief. And the way you shift your belief is with an open mind. And with that open mind, if you are then willing to move information around, you will shift your belief, which then means you will shift your faith. You will shift the basis for action upon the new accepted terms. Isn't that beautiful? It's amazing. Let me read that again. Faith, active belief, the movement of the belief in your life. Belief which amounts to the basis for action upon the accepted premises. I'll put a big box around this one. Really, really good. Now, before we proceed, for those of you who are watching this live stream, I would love to tap even more into the completion of these calls daily and the recordings, that go to elevitality.com and register for Master Your Mind. You'll thank yourself later.